there was something that they could do that might open up a door to a parallel universe.
It's hard to wrap your mind around that there is something larger than everything.
It all started with a single chilling statement from a 13-year-old. CERN has opened a portal. This wasn't some kid playing make-believe. This is Max Sidorov, a verified genius who has baffled scientists for years. Now he claims the famed Large Hadron Collider, guided by a revolutionary quantum AI, has breached the barrier between worlds. The implications are staggering, and the story gets stranger from here. When Joe Rogan put this on his massive platform, it went from a wild claim to a terrifying possibility. What many overlooked is what this portal really means for us. The boy who saw too much. You see, most kids his age are worried about homework or video games, but Max Sidorov isn't most kids. At age 7, he was correcting university physics professors. At 10, he reportedly built a working nuclear fusion reactor in his family's garage using parts he bought online. We're talking about an IQ estimated to be north of 200, a level that makes geniuses like Stephen Hawking look like they were average students. For years, the scientific community has watched Max, wondering what he would do next. Nobody, and I mean nobody, expected this. In a move that sent shockwaves across the internet, Max released a paper. It wasn't for a school project. This was a detailed 20-page document complete with quantum equations and complex diagrams that top physicists are still struggling to fully understand. The title of the paper was simple and terrifying: Interdimensional Transference via Quantum Entangled AI. What many overlooked at first was the explosive claim buried in the data. Max stated without a hint of doubt that CERN's Large Hadron Collider, located nearly 30 stories underground on the Franco-Swiss border, had succeeded in its secret mission. He claimed that for a period of exactly 11 minutes it had opened a stable gateway, a portal to another dimension. But here's the kicker. He said it wasn't an accident. According to Max, for the last 5 years, CERN has been secretly developing a quantum AI. This isn't your normal AI. It's a machine that can think in ways our brains can't, processing trillions of possibilities in a single second. It was this AI, he claims, that found the precise frequency needed to weaken the fabric of our reality. It controlled the 17-mile-long ring of superconductors, cooled to a temperature colder than deep space, minus 456 degrees Fahrenheit, and fired beams of protons at 99.9% the speed of light. The result wasn't a new particle, it was a doorway. Many people are crazy about this kind of stuff, but this was different. It came from a source many were inclined to believe. The thing nobody tells you is that strange things have been reported around CERN for years. Unexplained seismic tremors, bizarre cloud formations, and electrical disturbances that defy logical explanation. Max's paper suggested these weren't side effects, they were the warm-up act. He even included satellite data that showed a massive, unexplained energy spike at the exact time he claimed the portal opened. The official story from CERN? A minor power surge during a routine calibration test. But Max called it the biggest cover-up in human history. This boy's claim was so wild it was about to catch the ear of the biggest podcaster on Earth. Rogan's reaction stuns millions. In a world where mainstream news carefully controls every story, the most explosive ideas often catch fire in the wild. And there is no bigger megaphone for forbidden thoughts than the podcast of Joe Rogan, a man who reaches more people in a week than most news networks do in a year. Rogan has built an undisputed empire on having conversations that go where the official narrative is terrified to tread. You see, he talks about everything from ancient civilizations and the secrets of MMA to the very nature of consciousness itself. So when Max Sidorov's bombshell claim landed on his desk, it was only a matter of time before it hit the airwaves. But not all things are what they seem, and Rogan's reaction was not what anyone expected. During a widely viewed episode with a well-known mainstream physicist, Rogan brought up Max's paper. The physicist immediately chuckled, a condescending smirk on his face as he tried to laugh it off, calling it the brilliant fantasy of a kid with too much imagination. He tried to explain it away with a wall of complicated jargon designed to confuse and dismiss. But here's the kicker. Rogan wasn't laughing. He didn't debate. He just sat there, leaning into his microphone and staring at his guest for what felt like an eternity. He pulled up the 20-page paper on the screen, pointing not at the wild claims, but at the dense pages of quantum equations. Rogan, a man famous for his explosive, curious, and often loud personality, was uncharacteristically quiet, almost troubled. He finally spoke, and his words became a direct quote that would echo across the internet. "Look, I'm just a dumb comedian. But I've talked to enough smart people to know when something looks different. This doesn't look like a joke." That single moment of quiet validation from Rogan was like pouring gasoline on a fire. The clip was instantly sliced up, remixed, and shared, going viral on every platform. Suddenly, millions of people who had never even heard of CERN were now asking a terrifying question. What if the kid is right? Rogan didn't endorse the theory, but he gave it a platform. He made it okay to ask the question, and in today's world, that's more than enough to start an avalanche. The thing nobody tells you is that this isn't the first time strange theories about CERN have surfaced. For years, people have pointed to the giant 10-foot-tall statue of Shiva, the Hindu god of destruction, that sits right outside CERN's headquarters in Geneva. The official story is that it was a gift from India. But many ask, why accept a statue of the cosmic dancer, the god who destroys universes to recreate them? It's a bizarre choice for a place of science. Conspiracy circles have claimed for years that CERN isn't trying to understand the universe, but to break it, to play God. They point to other strange things like bizarre mock rituals being filmed on CERN grounds. Max's claim, amplified by Rogan's massive audience, poured fuel on these long, smoldering embers of suspicion. It connected the dots for millions of people, suggesting that maybe the craziest, most far-out theories had a terrifying grain of truth all along. With the world now watching, the focus shifted from the boy to the machine itself and its dark connections. Aliens, pyramids, and portals. To put it mildly, the story was already out of control, but it was about to get a whole lot weirder. Once the idea of a dimensional portal was on the table, online investigators and rogue researchers started digging. They began connecting CERN's strange activities to some of the oldest mysteries in human history. The narrative quickly expanded beyond a simple science experiment gone wrong and into a conspiracy that spanned millennia. What many overlooked is how deep these connections actually go. They started with the location. Why build CERN there on the border of France and Switzerland? Researchers uncovered that the site was once home to a Roman town called Apolliacum. In ancient times, it was believed to be a gateway to the underworld. A coincidence? Maybe. But then they looked at the logo for CERN. At first glance, it looks like intersecting particle accelerators. But if you look closer, many people see something else. The number 666, cleverly hidden in plain sight. Then came the connections to ancient aliens and the pyramids. For decades, theorists have argued that the Great Pyramids of Giza weren't just tombs. They were massive energy machines, built for a purpose we've completely misunderstood. They point to the mind-boggling evidence, the precise mathematical alignments to true north, the internal shafts that point directly to star systems like Orion's belt, and their location at the exact geographical center of Earth's landmass. The thing nobody tells you is that the Great Pyramid is built largely of dolomite limestone, which is known to conduct electricity, and its shafts are lined with granite, a slightly radioactive material known to ionize the air. To put it mildly, that's a strange recipe for a simple burial chamber. The theory suggests that an advanced ancient civilization, perhaps with help from extraterrestrial visitors, used these structures for something incredible. They weren't just stacking stones, they were building a resonant cavity, a machine designed to harness the Earth's natural energy fields. For what? Maybe to open their own portals. They compared the immense focused power needed for such a feat to the power generated by the 17-mile-long Large Hadron Collider. Were our ancestors trying to do the exact same thing as CERN, just with stone and sound instead of superconductors and magnets? This is where the story truly goes down the rabbit hole. People started pointing out eerie similarities between ancient texts and hieroglyphs from all over the world. Suddenly, depictions of gods coming from the sky in fiery chariots didn't look like myths. They looked like eyewitness accounts of advanced technology. Was the underworld of ancient legends just another word for a parallel universe? Were the gods who descended from the heavens, giving humanity knowledge of agriculture and astronomy, simply interdimensional travelers? The Sumerian texts talk about the Anunnaki who came from the sky. Ancient Indian texts describe flying machines called vimanas in stunning detail. All these stories from different cultures that supposedly never met tell the same tale. Max Sidorov's claim about a quantum AI-controlled portal suddenly didn't sound so new. It sounded like a terrifying echo of a long-forgotten past, a dangerous technology that humanity has stumbled upon once before. It begs the question, if our ancestors had this power, where are they now? Maybe their story serves as a warning that some doors are best left unopened. But if this is all true, what does it mean for the average person living their day-to-day life? Shadow of the portal. Let's bring this down to earth for a moment. For the average person watching this, it's easy to dismiss it all as crazy talk. Portals, quantum AI, ancient aliens, it sounds like a movie plot. You see, you wake up, you go to work, you pay your bills, and you deal with the real world. The sun rises, the sun sets. The world looks the same as it did yesterday. But what if it isn't? What if the very rules of reality were quietly rewritten while we were all busy looking at our phones? The thing is, if a door to another dimension was opened, even for just 11 minutes, we can't be sure what came through. And more importantly, we can't be sure what it changed about our own world. Are we missing a key detail? This isn't about giant monsters stepping through a glowing hole in the sky. The most effective changes are the ones you never see happening. Think about it. The last few years have felt different, right? More chaotic, more unpredictable, like the world is spinning just a little faster off its axis. Many people are talking about the Mandela effect, where huge numbers of people share the same false memory of historical events. People swear they remember Nelson Mandela passing away in prison back in the 1980s. They remember a movie called Shazam, starring the comedian Sinbad, that apparently never existed. They remember the famous kids' books being called the Berenstain Bears, with an E, not the Berenstain Bears with an A. What if these aren't just tricks of the mind? What if they are memory fossils? A residue of a timeline that no longer exists, overwritten by a new one. What if our universe was grafted onto a slightly different one, as some theories connected to Max's paper now suggest? It's a chilling thought. Think about your own life. Have you ever experienced a powerful sense of déjà vu, that unshakable feeling you've lived a moment before? Or seen something out of the corner of your eye that just shouldn't be there? We call them glitches in the matrix, a funny term for a deeply unsettling experience. But what if they're not glitches? What if they're seams, the places where the old reality and the new one haven't quite stitched together perfectly? The truly terrifying part is this. If someone had the power to alter reality, they would also have the power to alter the evidence. All the books, all the digital records, all the history would change instantly. The only thing left behind would be the faulty, stubborn memories of human beings. The rules of the game might have changed without us ever being told, and our own minds are the only proof we have that anything is wrong. This is the part that truly keeps people up at night. The world's smartest kid isn't just saying that CERN opened a portal. He's hinting that the consequences of that action are already all around us. We are living in the aftermath. The biggest scientific experiment in history might have turned into the most irresponsible gamble ever taken, and every single person on this planet is part of the experiment now, whether we like it or not. The fabric of reality is not as stable as we thought, and one boy genius is telling us that someone already tore a hole in it. So what do you believe? Is this a massive cover-up or the fantasy of a brilliant child? Like and subscribe, because the mystery is far from over. Are we alone in the cosmos or just in this dimension?